All right, ladies and gentlemen, right now I have for you 5 players that could be on the move this summer via trade from their current teams. And number 1, the biggest trade target of them all is Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans. You already know, everybody in the league knows, he's made it very clear he wants out. Getting that number 1 pick, getting Zion Williamson did not change his mind. He doesn't care that he's there. He's gone. Anthony Davis has 1 foot out the door. He wants out of New Orleans no matter what. And good thing for the New Orleans Pelicans, now that they have the number 1 pick, they can definitely hold out a little bit longer and wait to see what kind of trades come their way for their star player, Anthony Davis. You see what he did this year on the court, 25.9 points per game, 12 rebounds, 2.4 block shots per game, and then he showed that he's got some range, 33.1% from beyond the three-point arc. When he plays, when he's not injured and when he's not dealing with drama and when he's not sitting out, he's a top 5 talent in this league. There's no debate about it. Defensively, offensively, Anthony Davis can do it all. We've seen that he can be one of the best players, but you also see the team that he had to work with. Point guard Elfrid Payton, not a top-tier point guard if you want to make the playoffs in the West. Shooting guard Jrue Holiday, incredible player, probably one of the better running mates that Anthony Davis has had in his tenure with the Pelicans. Small forward, Solomon Hill. Solomon Hill is your starting small forward in New Orleans. That's horrible. Center, Anthony Davis. And then Julius Randle actually had a really nice year for the Pelicans. So Julius Randle and Jrue Holiday, 2 top-tier kind of guys that he's played with, along with DeMarcus Cousins, who helped him get to the playoffs that 1 year. But there's just no bench. There's no depth in New Orleans. There's nothing to really push him to the next level, and that's why he wants out. And I think there are 3 teams that could look to move for Anthony Davis realistically. I think a lot of teams are going to be calling the Pelicans saying, hey, here's our offer, but there's really only 3 teams that are going to pique their interest. You look at the Los Angeles Lakers, probably the number 1 team that is on his tail. They have now the number 4 overall pick to offer. They have Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram. Look, basically the Pelicans can say, give us any of these players, that's who we want, and the Lakers would offer it up. But the Pelicans are very hesitant to trade with the Lakers. Same conference, they don't want to send them to LA. So number 2 team, Boston, also has a lot to offer. They have picks number 14, 20, 22, and 51. And then they also have guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum that they could potentially move to bring AD to Boston and possibly convince Kyrie to stay there. And then number 3, the New York Knicks. All of these are obviously big market teams. The Knicks landed that number 3 overall spot. Had they landed the number 1 overall pick, they would have offered Zion to the Pelicans. But now the Pelicans are getting Zion, so it doesn't matter. So the Knicks have Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina. The players aren't all that great that they can offer, but that number 3 overall pick to pair with the number 1 overall pick in New Orleans is enticing. So that's 3 teams that have pretty solid trade packages overall. But in the comment section below, I need you to tell me which of those 3 teams has the best overall trade package for Anthony Davis. He's a star player. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league. You can't just throw him scraps. So who has the best trade package for AD? Number 2 player I want to look at, point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies, Mike Conley Jr., one of the most underrated guys for a long time. And then the Memphis Grizzlies land the number 2 overall pick, and going number 2 is Ja Morant, the point guard out of Murray State. So now you got to look to move this veteran point guard in Mike Conley. One of the better two-way guys. It's really hard to root against him. You see what he did in 2018-2019, career high in points per game at 21.1 points per game. Still dishing out 6.4 assists despite not having the greatest teammates. 3.4 rebounds and then 1.3 steals. Again, a great defensive player. They looked to move Mike Conley at the trade deadline. It didn't happen. They moved Marc Gasol. They basically bought into this whole rebuild. And Mike Conley still has 1 year, $34 million left on his deal. So they're going to look to move him. And 3 teams that I think could be calling the Memphis Grizzlies this summer are the Utah Jazz, the Detroit Pistons, and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, why those 3? Well, look, you look at Utah. If you can put Mike Conley with Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Rudy Gobert, if they bring back Derek Favors, the Jazz are getting back to the playoffs, and they're going further than just the first round this next year if they can bring in Mike Conley. That would be a great spot for him to land. The Detroit Pistons. There's not a lot of talent in Detroit outside of Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond. Their guard play, Reggie Jackson, nothing special. But if you put Mike Conley in there, that can push them into the Eastern Conference playoffs a little bit stronger, make a stronger push there. And then the Dallas Mavericks. Now, they have 2 great players under 25, Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. but their veterans aren't that strong. So you bring in Mike Conley, he's a perfect defensive player to put next to Luka, who might be a defensive liability at times. And you got a pretty solid lineup. Now, what these teams can offer, that's a whole nother story, but these are definitely some teams that should be calling for Mike Conley Jr. to the Memphis Grizzlies. But I want to know who you think should trade for Mike Conley. If it's one of those three teams, let me know. If you got a dark horse team, put it in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know what I think. Now, of course, this is only happening if Ja Morant goes number 2, which everyone expects him to. Ja Morant, he called himself a point god, but do you guys want to be betting gods? I can make that happen. Bet DSI, use our promo code NBA120. It gets you a 120% bonus. So you put down $50, you're getting $60 for free. With Bet DSI, our promo code NBA120, get your wallets nice and thick. You know who else is nice and thick? Kyle Lowry, the point guard for the Toronto Raptors. He could be on the move this summer if Kawhi Leonard decides he's not going back to Toronto, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. He's been with the Raptors since 2012, currently playing in the Eastern Conference Finals, actually having a pretty good run in the Eastern Conference Finals along his teammate, Kawhi Leonard. You see what he's doing right now, 20.3 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists per game, kind of doing it all. And then overall, he's been shooting 48%, a little over from behind the three-point arc. He is providing that boost for them outside of just Kawhi Leonard from an offensive standpoint. Now, he is 33 years old. He's still a high-quality starting point guard. But and one thing to remember is that his age doesn't really affect his game because he doesn't rely on his explosiveness or anything. Now, there's really only one team that's been rumored to be interested in Kyle Lowry, and that's the, unfortunately, Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Kyle Lowry would be a Plan Z option for the Lakers. They're looking to land some top-tier free agents, if not Anthony Davis via trade. And they might be targeting a point guard in the draft, guys like Darius Garland maybe at number 4. We could see how that shakes out. But Kyle Lowry could be a Plan Z, a very, very way back on the back burner backup option for the Los Angeles Lakers to pair next to LeBron James. Now, I have a good feeling Kyle Lowry likes to eat. We just talked about it, nice and thick. But what is the better burger? I was having this debate the other day with some of my friends, and I need to know from you guys, what's the better burger? I think Kyle Lowry likes Whataburger because he looks like he knows what he wants to eat. So Whataburger or In-N-Out? I've been having this debate. I think it's Whataburger, but let me know in the comment section below. Type W for Whataburger or I for In-N-Out. Now, to the point guard of the Los Angeles Lakers right now, Lonzo Ball. They're looking to make big moves this summer, and Lonzo Ball could be a part of that. He's probably the best trade asset the Lakers have. The number 2 pick just a couple of years ago. Great defensive player, a great passer. He makes his teammates better, but his offensive game has just not come around quite yet. He still has time. I still think there's a chance he develops a better offensive game, but so far it has not shaken out. You look at what he's done this past season, even though he missed a lot of the year due to injury, 9.9 points per game, just over 40% from the field, just over 32% from 3. And then this isn't a huge offensive number, but it's a glaring hole in his game. 41% from the free throw line is absolutely miserable from a point guard. He's got to get that figured out. I don't know how it is that bad if he can also shoot nearly 33% from 3. You got to figure out the free throw percentage, Lonzo Ball. Offensive game has got to come around. Defensive game looks nice, but there are 3 teams that are probably going to be calling about Lonzo Ball. Number 1, Chicago Bulls. Now, they have a young core already. You look at guys like Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr. was a top pick last year. And then even Otto Porter Jr. was a great piece for them as well. They're missing a stud point guard, and Lonzo Ball could be that for them. He could definitely help them make his teammates better. Great passer. Lonzo Ball makes sense there. Number 2, Phoenix Suns. Now, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton are incredible, but if you get Devin Booker's not a great defensive guard, so you put Lonzo Ball in there, great defensive guard that can also feed Devin Booker the ball, feed DeAndre Ayton the ball in the post, make his teammates better in Phoenix. And then, of course, I have to include the New Orleans Pelicans because if the Lakers decide they're going to trade for Anthony Davis, Lonzo Ball is likely going to have to be a part of that package. So that's my 3 teams that could be making a move for Lonzo Ball. Look, his offensive game isn't there yet. His defensive game is definitely there. His passing is definitely there. Do you believe in Lonzo Ball? Do you still believe in the former number 2 overall pick as a high-quality starting point guard in this league? I do. I really do. Especially his defensive game. It makes up for some of the stuff he lacks on offense. Do you believe in him, though? Let me know in the comment section below. And as you mentioned, put that in the comment section. I want to remind you guys to subscribe to Chat Sports right now because we're almost at 100,000. We are nearly at 100K subscribers, and you guys can subscribe at youtube.com/chatsportstv and get quality NBA, NFL, whatever you want kind of content all season and off season long. Number 5, Kevin Love, the Cleveland Cavaliers. He missed nearly the entire season due to toe surgery, and he also received a massive extension from the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's going to be a debatable thing that they did. I don't really know if they love that move looking back on it now. Now, his injuries hold him back. His age at 31 years old still holds him back just a little bit, but he's still a great rebounder, one of the best rebounders in the game. He can definitely stretch the floor as a power forward. You see what he did in his limited action this year. He only played 22 games, 17 points per game, nearly 11 rebounds, 2 assists, and then 36.1% from 3 showed that he can still shoot it. I still love Kevin Love. I think a lot of people still love Kevin Love. And 3 teams that should love him, that should really look into trading for him. 1, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. Interesting here, Oladipo, Bogdanovic, Miles Turner, great pieces. You put a 4 in there like Kevin Love, and you got a solid starting 5. Number 2, the Charlotte Hornets. They nearly made a move for Marc Gasol, if you remember, at the NBA trade deadline, something to convince Kemba Walker to stay. Making a move for a guy like Kevin Love could be something that convinces him to stay. You got to get some more talent around Kemba if he wants to stay in Charlotte. And then number 3, the team that I think needs to be calling, the Portland Trail Blazers. You look at this team, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, but they came up short. They got swept. So what do? You add a marquee talent like Kevin Love to a starting 5 of Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Mo Harkless, Yusuf Nurkic, and then you put Kevin Love in there. That pushes them back into the Western Conference Finals picture next year, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people would agree with me there. I think Kevin Love would be perfect on this Portland Trail Blazers team. Now, what they have to offer, that's a whole nother conversation. But they need to at least make the call. Would you like your favorite team to trade for Kevin Love? Let me know in the comment section below. Type Y for yes, give me an N for no if you wouldn't like to see him. Huge contract, possibly injury prone, a little bit on the older side, but still a great player. Still a top tier talent in the league when he's healthy. So if you want to see your team, your favorite team, make a move for him, type Y. If no, type in the comment section below. Let's recap my 5 players that are likely to be traded this summer. Number 1, Anthony Davis, almost certainly on the move one way or another out of New Orleans. Number 2, Mike Conley of the Memphis Grizzlies, probably going to be moved as Ja Morant comes in to start at point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 3, Kyle Lowry, only going to be gone if Kawhi Leonard leaves Toronto. Number 4, Lonzo Ball, a great trade asset for the Los Angeles Lakers as they look to make some bigger moves this offseason. And then coming in at number 5, I have him at number 5 because of that massive contract, difficult to move, is Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers. There you go, guys. That is my top 5 players most likely to be moved this offseason in a trade.